Our search for Henry's sacristy may be falling apart, but just before the end of the day, Dave finds some definitive evidence of Edward the Confessor's earlier abbey.
Let's have a look and see what you've got there. These are 11th century hand-incised floor tiles with glaze on, and this is very heavily worn. This is an absolutely wonderful find.
So extremely rare, this tile.
It's so rare, they're only known at Westminster Abbey, and we only recognise them within the last 5 years. Absolutely wonderful. Find us some more, please.
OK, I'll try.
This is more than we could have hoped for, because finds from Edward the Confessor's great abbey are like gold dust. Beginning of day 3 here at Westminster Abbey, and completely by surprise, we seem to be uncovering the story of 3 churches on this site. We came here to find the lost sacristy of this man, Henry III, who built this marvellous abbey that's here today. But late yesterday afternoon, we unearthed a tile from the abbey belonging to this man, Henry's inspiration, Edward the Confessor, 200 years previously. And not only that, but we think we may have a row of burials from the very first church on this site, way back in Saxon times. And if we have, then we're sailing into completely uncharted archaeological waters. The theory rests on the orientation of these chalk-lined burials, which were discovered by Sir Gilbert Scott in the 1870s. Phil needs to find them to see if they were aligned to the earliest Saxon Westminster Abbey.
Ian, just like being on the Downs, isn't it?
But there's still the little matter of whether the L-shaped building we're excavating is Henry III's long-lost sacristy.
No cowpats either.
Looking for. For the last 2 days, there's been one big question that's been bugging us. Why is our sacristy such an odd shape? Basically, it's just 2 corridors in an L shape. Well, we think we've got the answer, but it isn't until you get in here that you understand the logic of it. Most of us think of an abbey like this, don't we? It's beautifully decorated, highly painted. We hardly even notice areas like that one or this little room over here. But that is where the real work of an abbey gets done. And that's the logic of our sacristy. It's a place where things are stored, where things are sorted out, and where people get changed out of the public eye until they process back into the formal part of the abbey, dressed in their full glory. Mick, are you happy now?
Oh, ecstatic, ecstatic. I really feel we've sorted it out.
But Helen, how does all this tie in with the documents that you've been looking at?
It ties in brilliantly, and what it does is help us understand some really tricky passages in the documents. I mean, to begin with, the Galilee of the sacristy.
What does Galilee mean?
Well, we didn't know. Nobody has known. Everybody says, what does this mean? It's so annoying. But when you realise what this place is, that it's a place to prepare for processions, that it's a place to put all your kit on and so on, that it becomes very obvious. Now, I do a few processions every year as a member of the church choir, and they're awful. If you've only got a tiny little space, then you can't organise yourself in a great long line and you don't know what you're doing. Now, if you've got this lovely space, which you could call a Galilee, you can line up and you can check that you're all in the right order and you're all doing the same thing without all that huffling and shuffling and worry. It also sorts out the L shape because you can take a procession through into the north transept, appearing as if by magic through that lovely door. You can also take a procession into the nave, appearing as if by magic. It's absolutely ideal.
The other function is to keep the robes in, the vestments, the copes and so on that the clergy wear.
So we're talking about 2 sacristies with 2 different functions?
Yeah, most places would have had all this going on in one room.
Yeah.
Here they've got the luxury of keeping the clothes separate, if you like, in a less secure building, but it is ideal to get to everywhere.
So our sacristy was like the wings of a theatre. And what a theatre. Because Henry was setting the scene for the most important ceremonies in the kingdom: royal weddings, funerals and coronations.
Hello, my name's John Gator. Time Team is fan-funded by Patreon. This vital support helps us to make new episodes. Joining Patreon gives you access to exclusive interviews, 3D models and masterclasses, plus lots more.